stars and stripes. Pigskin flies under Friday night lights. Grilling out burgers, sipping on beer. NFL season, it's the best time of year. Sunday mornings with the crew. Painted faces, red, white, and blue. Touchdowns, dances, high fives all around. Cheering loud till the walls come down. We're all about the touchdowns. We're all about the plays. From sea to shining sea, it's the NFL we praise. America's favorite sport. From kickoff to final score, we bleed red, white, and blue for the game we all adore. Fantasy leagues and draft day dreams. Coaches screaming, players on teams. Big screen TVs, living room cheers. NFL memories cherished for years. Tailgate smoking, barbecue smells. Friends and rivals making rebel yells. Flags waving high in the roaring stands. We're NFL faithful across the lands. We're all about the touchdowns. We're all about the plays. From sea to shining sea, it's the NFL we praise. America's favorite sport. From kickoff to final score, we bleed red, white, and blue for the game we all adore.
And now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Ahoy there, Buccaneers fans and Buccaneers alike. Welcome aboard the RBLR Bucks podcast, where we plunder through the offseason seas in search of all things Tampa Bay football. I be your co-captain, Musab. And I've asked ye, we find ourselves in the 30s now. A mere 38 days left till we set eyes on the Buccaneers football once more. The offseason may be a barrel o' grog, but fear not. There be still plenty of foot in Tampa. The RBLR Sports keeps the lantern lit with updates on our rowdy Sun and Rays crews that are, putting in that work right now. Ye be best be keeping a weather eye on all our teams, though. And tonight, folks, we've got another barnacle-busting episode lined up for you. We be delving deep into the waters of our Buccaneers, our scallywag rivals, and a chest of way too early predictions. It'd be a treasure trove of Buccaneer insights that'll shiver your timbers. So hoist the mainsail, splice the main brace, and join us as we chart a course through another riveting episode of the RBLR Bucks podcast. And alongside me, mates, to my right, he is Captain Zach. How are you, Zach?
Oh, I am so much better after that, brother. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. So far, so good. It's been a rainy couple days over here in Tampa Bay, but it is what it is. Just hanging in there a little bit, with all the other sports going on. The good news is at least the Olympics are actually starting up end of July. I'm actually really looking forward to that.
Hey, there you go. I don't really watch the Olympics, but I'm gonna try.
I just watch track and field. I don't know why. It's like one of my favorite sports or favorite things to watch.
Well, they're bringing skateboarding to the Olympics this year, aren't they?
Oh, wow. Yeah, they got a lot of interesting sports, actually.
I'll probably watch that, but
yeah. They got a couple of gals from, I didn't realize, but they have like a lot of shooting competitions as well. I just found out from my dad, actually, a couple of days ago that a couple of gals in Pakistan are going to be doing some like 10-meter, 25-meter like pistol competitions. They qualified for the Olympics, so I was like, damn.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And to my left, last but not least, the final piece to this RBLR Buccaneers puzzle. He is Captain Carter Brentley. What's going on, Carter? You know I had to do that. I'll do it every time.
I mean, for sure, man. You know, if you're on a Bucks podcast, you gotta play up the pirate aspect.
I guess I could do it for Zach if I say Zach Urry, but he doesn't really have that.
I don't get any pirate flair in my name. It's just Captain Zach.
Yeah, Musab's not putting that much thought and effort into
Feeling some favoritism here, Musab. Wow, my heart hurts a little bit. Good lord.
That's why I gave you that captain title.
For sure.
Well, good enough for me.
You got to still live in Florida to get that kind of treatment. You got to still be in.
I respect that. I see how it is.
Sure. Oh man, well, we really appreciate y'all
this season.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man. But we really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. We're gonna be talking some more Bucks football. Like Musab said, we're inching closer and closer to the season starting back up again. And for those college football fans, man, NCAA football coming out in like 2 weeks. Super
I already got it pre-ordered.
Yep, I've got the whole kit and caboodle. I got Madden and
college. You do the deluxe bundle thing.
I did. What can I say? I'm disgusting. I'm a degenerate.
They got me with it too. I saw that and I was like, oh,
yeah,
well, I'm gonna do it.
I just keep giving EA and other big video game companies money for no reason, and then complaining about the quality of the game.
Yep. I know. I'll be on Twitter in about 6 months talking about how Madden's trash again.
Oh yeah, we all do it. It's it's just a yearly tradition. But anyways, on to more Bucks-related news. Mr. Blaine, last week you made a bit of a bold proclamation that Chris Godwin was not a top 10 number 2 option in the NFL.
I did. I did say that.
That's true. So I wanted to let you defend that case. I wanted you to think about it, come up with some names that are better than Chris Godwin as a number 2 option. So you have the floor, my friend. Go for it. Who you got?
All right. Let's see. Where are we at here? Oh, I wrote them all down. Where'd they go in the document thing?
Well, if you want, we can kind of just drop out the names.
That's true.
Oh, here we go. I got them. Okay, right here. You ready? Here we go.
All right, go get him, Tiger.
I gotta preference this by saying.
Preface this, yeah.
Preference, same thing, right? Y'all understood what I was saying. I apologize. I'm not an English major. These are all opinionated options. Like, I don't think these are not necessarily stat based. These are who I think will make a better second number 2 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start off with Jalen Waddle.
No argument. Yep.
Okay, so we're good on Jalen Waddle.
Oh yeah, not even.
We're gonna go to. You get a choice here because I'm not sure who's gonna be wide receiver 1 in Chicago. But I do believe that Keenan Allen or DJ Moore are both a better number 2 option.
Okay, I can get on board with that. I can at least
I get Keenan Allen is old, so I would prefer to say DJ Moore here as the number 2 receiver.
Right, but the problem is he's probably going to be number 1.
Exactly. So I'm thinking Keenan Allen is probably going to be number 2. So I would probably take him but then again, he fits the same mold as Mike Evans in a sense, the big guy down the field. But either way, putting him there.
Keenan Allen's a slot machine too, and he's
can be.
He's a little injury prone. I don't know. Keenan Allen's a bit of a tough sell for me, but
I understand how he could be a sell, but I'm still putting him there. Brandon Ayuk.
No argument. Yep.
All right.
Either him or Debo, whichever one.
Yeah, whichever one's 2, I'm taking either one of them.
Yeah, I get you.
Nico Collins or Tank Dell.
I'm good with Nico. Tank Dell.
Tank Dell is a hard sell because he only has 1 year. There's a few people in here that only have 1 year, and when I put them in my mind, it's more of a what's the word I'm looking for? It's more of a future thing. Like, I think that they could put up close to the same numbers now and have a better future. Then we got Devonta Smith.
No argument. Yep. He's better than CG. Yep, I got you.
Now this one, I know that I already know you don't agree with this one, but I'm a firm believer in this one. Jordan Addison out of Minnesota.
I like Jordan Addison, but
I would if someone offered me a trade for Chris Godwin for Jordan Addison straight up, I would take it.
Of
tomorrow.
course. Addison's younger. He's on a cheaper contract. He's got more years. But if we're
Exactly.
talking about just who's a better player right now, like if we were just, hey, I need to win a Super Bowl, like I need, forget the future, forget all that. I think I'm still going Chris Godwin.
When Justin Jefferson was out, how good did Jordan Addison do?
For sure, he was great. Like he was a really.
Someone has to step up, Zach.
And that's what I'm saying. And he has the ability to step up and be a wide receiver one when the best wide receiver in football is not playing.
Fair, sure.
Do you think Chris Godwin would be a good wide receiver one if Mike Evans went down?
I don't know. We haven't really seen it.
We haven't had to deal with that. Thank God, and I'm so thankful for that.
For sure, but that's not really the argument here. The argument here is he a good number 2? Like, is he a good complementary wide receiver to?
Okay, so I see. I guess I looked at it more big picture. Like, if Mike Evans were to go down, could Jordan Addison fill that role as like an outside guy? And I think he could. I don't think Chris Godwin can. We saw last year that he struggled to play outside.
Absolutely.
So I see your point when we talk about it like this. I see your point in Addison. But I still would take him.
He's only had 1 year. So like he could get even better, he could get even worse.
Exactly. Exactly. Like
it's very much he's not a rookie, but like he's kind of a shrug. He's kind of a
He's young.
Yeah.
And then my next one is another young guy, but Puka Nacua.
Yeah, he had a great year last year. He had like a upper echelon
year, without a doubt.
So I have no problem with Puka being
I have a few rookies this year that I'm not putting them on the list because they're rookies, but that I think will be better number 2 receivers, in my opinion. Again, all opinion based. These aren't stats, obviously. Rome Odunze, I think, is going to be the best wide receiver out of this draft class.
Okay.
Then I've got Malik Neighbors is going to be wide receiver 1 in New York. So
yeah, and if he's not better than Chris Godwin.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling with him, and then I think Brian Thomas Jr. could be. There's 2 for sure that I think could be better than Godwin after next season.
Gotcha. Well,
so this is more like a big picture kind of thing.
Well, I mean a little bit of both, because you got some in there that are better right now, and you got some that I think would fit our system very well, and could be a better number 2 than Godwin.
Right. And like the issue is like with a lot of these, like for example, Jordan Addison. Yeah, I'd take Jordan Addison over Chris Godwin on the Bucks for the future. Absolutely. Like that's not really a question. But unfortunately, I think the conversation for me was more just like who's better right now, like who's a more dependable.
So if I'm being honest with you, I would take Tank Dell out. That's the only name I would change right now.
Okay.
I would take out of the list. If that's what we had, if we were just going off that, I'm taking everyone on my list outside of Tank Dell.
All right. So at the most, because I can't qualify any of the rookies. I can't.
No, and agree. So at the most, I think I've got him at 9 or 10, which I know I said he's not top 10.
But see, here's the thing. So we'll go through it. Waddle, sure. Keenan Allen, maybe. I'll give that to you. Brandon Ayuk, definitely. Nico Collins, for sure. Devontae Smith. Jordan Addison, I don't know. I'm also just. It's not that I'm even iffy or all that, but it's just like, overall big picture. If we're talking like as Carter mentioned, just right now. I agree with you when you say big picture, but then what Carter mentioned with the whole like, hey, it's if we got to win a Super Bowl,
so who had a better
one right now?
I'm pretty sure Chris Godwin did, right?
So I know for a fact that Addison had more touchdowns.
For sure. Absolutely. No doubt.
I didn't, like I said, I didn't look at the stats hard when I was doing this. This was just based pure off of like who I would rather have right now.
Right.
So it's very opinionated. Like if you guys say I'm wrong, you guys, the fans listening, if you want to type in the chat.
Oh, for sure. Please reply and tell Zach or me or Musab how we're all idiots. Please.
Yeah, please do.
Go for it.
So,
love it.
I just look at it more like big picture production wise. If you can score the ball, I want you to score the ball. And Godwin did that twice last year? Right. And I feel you. It's just hard because you're playing with Mike Evans, and Mike Evans didn't get hurt last year. Justin Jefferson got hurt last year, unfortunately. And that's a fair way to look. That's a fair argument for sure. So who else are you going to throw touchdown passes to? Someone's got to score the ball. Yeah, that's fair.
So at most, like let's say we give you Jordan Addison, that's 7. So Chris Godwin's
Puts
number
him at
8. So, but if you don't give you Jordan Addison, then he's number 7. Regardless, 7, 8, not a big difference. So he is top 10, right?
Unfortunately, yeah, I was trying to prove a point. I should have said he's not top 8, and I would have maybe got it right. But
I would have been fine if you were like, hey, I don't think he's top 5. Like, hey, yeah, he's not top 5 for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
no, I'm pissed off of myself for picking a high number now. Even as I typed that, because I typed this out to you guys in the chat literally as soon as we got off the show last week.
Right, absolutely.
And as I'm typing this out, I'm like, shit,
yeah.
man, I'm not. Damn it. Now,
Yeah,
then it goes into like maybe there's wide receivers that are in the wrong system that could be better than him. I don't know. It just there's a whole lot of stuff to go into it. As I looked like a little bit deeper into it, I think Chris Godwin's in the perfect system for him. I think if he goes to another team, it's one of those like when some of Tom Brady's wide receivers would go to another team, it's like, oh, they kind of die off slowly. I think that's what would happen with Godwin, if I'm being honest with you. I think in this system, he's good. Put him on another team, I don't think he's that good.
Right. And fair enough. That's a kind of a hypothetical, hard to answer.
Yeah, it's all hypothetical.
Right. And I'm more thinking like what team are they on right now? What system are they in right now? Yeah. What are they doing right now? Because Chris Godwin's on the wrong side of the age spectrum. He's definitely nearing a little bit of a drop off just because he's unfortunately getting older. He's been a little banged up over the years. So yeah, I do feel you. Like we revisit this conversation a year from now, and this list could look completely different. It could look the exact same. A lot of these rookies could jump up and have huge years. I mean, who the heck knew who Puka Nacua was last year, with all due respect to him.
He didn't even have a face scan in Madden last year. That's
right, exactly.
That's how unknown he was.
For sure. And we're sitting here saying he's a really great wide receiver, which he absolutely is, deservedly so. So, it's a crazy world out there. The NFL is a crazy place. So who knows what could happen. But for right now, I do think Chris Godwin's probably the 7 to 8 range. He is a top 10 number 2 option. So, but I wanted to press you on it because you were speaking on it, and we had to.
No, and
you got to get this content out here. So.
And that's why I love this group of guys right here, and all the fans listen. I love you guys too, but I dig it because we can have these conversations, and like all but 2 of these people, we were all like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Like but he's still top 10. I got your ass.
Right.
Man, I love this place.
For sure. And like I said, I'm actually a big Brian Thomas Jr. fan. I think he could very well jump up into this upper echelon of kind of number 2 targets. He could maybe even be wide receiver 1 in Jacksonville. I'm pretty high on him, but it's still, he's a rookie. Like he's literally never played it down.
Yeah, and that's why I took the rookies out of it. I don't know that Malik Neighbors is ever better than Chris Godwin.
Right.
I'm not sold on Neighbors yet. Rome Odunes, I very, very high on him. I hate that he's kind of deep on the Bears roster because they've got a decent wide receiver core. But Thomas and Odunes, I think, are going to be very, very good in the future.
Yeah, and if it helps your Odunes agenda at all, or your Odunes narrative, Keenan Allen's going to get hurt. Like I hope he doesn't. Like
without a doubt.
This isn't like a, I hate Keenan Allen thing. I love when he's healthy. He's amazing. He's a fantastic receiver.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's just getting long in the tooth. So, unfortunately, he could get injured at any point in the year. And I think the Bears are very much kind of assuming that's going to happen, and having Rome Odunze step in and be the number 2 wideout. That's fantastic. That's going to be a really, really great thing. So I wouldn't stress too much about that. Odunes is going to get plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about the wide receiver group this year in the draft. Was really fun. I'm really looking forward to how they can perform. So yeah, really excited to see this list next year. So we'll revisit this a year from now. We'll just make it a July 4th thing. July 4th.
There we go. Perfect. I like that.
That's right. It can be the celebration of number 2 wide receivers. But anyways, we'll take a bit more of a big picture look instead of just focusing so much on one niche position. Looking around the division, the Bucs division has had a bit of a change of guard in regards to the offseason. There's been a lot of different things that have happened. The Panthers and the Falcons went through some huge changes. The Saints have kind of homeostasis kind of thing, and same with the Bucs. But I wanted to ask y'all, because there were so many changes, who in the division because we've already done the NFL, but who specifically in the NFC South had the best offseason? Mr. Tariq, we'll start with you, man. What team in the NFC South, and it can be the Bucks, had the best offseason in your opinion?
It is the Bucks. It can be and it
There
will
it
be,
is.
and it can be and it will be the Bucks.
For
No,
sure.
but I mean, I'm not gonna like, and to be honest, for this full disclosure, it's not like I'm gonna go on a kind of on a high horse on why the Buccaneers just had such a phenomenal offseason. Again, it's just like this is the NFC South, and there's nothing pretty about it. So it's not like you have to do that much. Well, you are supposed to do a lot, but I mean, our rivals, it's not like they make smart moves either. So it's kind of like it's like a
The
room of
best of
like
the
four
worst.
donkeys. I don't know, yeah, whatever you want to say it.
Yeah.
But no, but hey, listen, the big thing, and I'll tell you why I think they had the best offseason was they retained their kind of core veterans. They got guys like Mike Evans back, Baker Mayfield, Levante David, Antoine Winfield Jr., all either re-signed or we extended them. So I'm expecting that, especially now that we've kind of, decided, hey, Baker's going to be leading this pack. I think, we had our ups and downs again this past season, but I'm pretty optimistic about, especially what we did even with the draft. I know maybe, Zach's not the biggest fan of our draft picks, but I'm happy with what we did. Was it perfect? No, but it was solid. And to summarize it, I don't think that all of our other NFC South rivals really did anything super big. A couple of them had a couple little big splashes, but they also drowned in those splashes. So yeah,
Dang, that's deep. Yeah, I'm with you. I think we might have a unanimous vote here. I'm also going Team Bucks in this regard. They had an amazing offseason. If the Falcons hadn't drafted Michael Penix, they would have been my. But man,
there's that drowning.
yeah, that's exactly the best way to put it. And the Panthers dealt away Brian Burns, which I understand, but they got worse. Their defense is going to be tough this season. They might get picked apart quite a bit. I know Zach is concerned about the Bucks secondary, rightfully so, but my goodness, the Panthers' whole dang defense is a weakness, really. So I'm not super thrilled about their prospects. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Bucks. And like we said, the Saints are kind of staying the same, just chugging along. They're just another year older with that roster. So yeah, I'm going with the Bucks as well. Because like you said, they brought back Baker, they brought back all these guys that are going to hopefully be fantastic and build off of what was a pretty successful 2023 campaign. So Mr. Blaine, I'll shoot it right back to you, brother. Who's your favorite offseason or the best offseason?
Oh, I think the Panthers.
Ooh, the Panthers.
No, I'm lying. It was the Bucks.
Yeah.
Now I will say, while I do think the Panthers defense got a little bit worse, I don't think anyone in our division had an awful offseason.
That's true. No one was like totally atrocious.
I do think that the Bucks are the best team right now, like on paper, outside of our cornerbacks, because they're god awful. I do think that we had the most productive and like most promising offseason for this next upcoming season. I think the rest of our teams kind of built, or the rest of the teams around us outside of the Saints, built for the future.
That's a good point.
So I think that it depends on how you look at the offseason. If you're looking at it for this next upcoming season, the Bucks win by a landslide. If you look at it as in like just for your team in general, I think that it's a lot closer than people maybe want to think about as Bucks fans.
Yeah, that's a good point. As much as I just kind of poo-pooed on the Panthers defense, they did get out of paying Brian Burns a lot of money.
Exactly.
They also got an extra pick because they didn't have their own pick in the first round, which also kind of contributes to why they had such a terrible offseason. And they're going to protect Bryce Young quite a bit. They drafted they signed a bunch of offensive linemen, drafted Xavier Legette out of South Carolina. So there's some interesting things, but like you said, I think you put it very succinctly. For this season alone, the Bucks are definitely set up the best.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so that was kind of an interesting little caveat to have for sure. But as the best, who also had the worst offseason? The flip side of things, they just weren't. You just didn't think they made the very many good moves. I'll kick things off. I'm going to be honest. I think it was probably the Saints. I'm not really sold on Chase Young being able to stay healthy. He's even if he does stay healthy, he's dealing with Cam Jordan, and he's another year older. They're just a really old team that didn't really get much younger. I don't think they're going to stay very healthy this season. They could very well be third place, just in front of the Panthers this season, just because they unfortunately can't make a lot of additions. They just don't have the salary cap flexibility that these other teams do. So yeah, I'm going with the Saints. But Mr. Blaine, I'll shoot it right back to you. Who's your worst offseason for the NFC?
I went with Atlanta
Ooh.
because of the draft pick. Now, I feel like it's important to go back what I said before, because I'm taking Atlanta for this next upcoming season.
Right.
I think that Atlanta has the brightest future in this division right now. I
Okay.
think they've got a young core. They just drafted their quarterback of the future, even though they've got Kirk Cousins for maybe 2-3 years. So I think for this season coming up, I think that Atlanta did the worst. But again, I gotta state that I do think that they have the brightest future out of everybody.
Interesting. Mr. Tariq, how about you? Who had the worst offseason this year?
Oh man, honestly, it's a close one between the Falcons and even the Panthers for me. I mean, it's not like to me the Panthers didn't really kind of do much other than they got their guards Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis who can protect Bryce Young, and yeah, you mentioned Xavier Legette, but oh man, yeah, I'm just for diversity, I guess I'll go Panthers. Honestly,
Okay.
I mean, it was really close. I mean, the Falcons, they did have some other kind of key additions to other than just Cousins. They got Mooney, Rondale Moore, but obviously, I mean, what in God's name was that Michael Penix pick? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It just yeah, it's like it's like your mom telling you, yeah, you can go ahead for a swim, and then your little brother just joins you and he starts drowning. So now you're panicking, and now your mom's panicking. Everyone's panicking simply because your idiot little brother just jumped in the pool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
sure.
So, and that's exactly what's going on in Atlanta right now. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'll just go Panthers. It's a close one, but I'll lean Panthers.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We all picked the three other teams. Yeah, I mean, I can see the argument for all three of them. They all kind of had very average to below average off seasons. Just kind of weird, not really a whole lot to go on. So yeah, I mean, a lot of weirdness in the NFC South for sure. So there's not really a good off season to pick from these three teams. I think we could all agree that all three of them were pretty rough. But what's not rough is definitely the RBLR shop. We've got some really, really cool gear. We've got the Bucks off season in the RBLR store. That's a horrible metaphor. I'm sorry, but definitely head to shop.rblrsports.com. We've got some really, really great gear on there for the Rays, Bucks, Lightning, and the Rowdies. The Rays are in the middle of their season right now. They're in Kansas City right now. I know Lightning fans are dealing with losing Stamkos, so maybe head to the store, get yourself something to pick yourself up, and then the Rowdies, of course, are in the midst of their season as well. So definitely check it out. We'll give you a promo code as well. That's Cannon, CANNONS. You type that bad boy in, get 10% off your entire order. All right, so this second half of the episode, we're gonna talk a little bit about the division a little bit more, but then we'll get into some awards predictions. But before we get into the awards predictions, I wanted to just touch on the division one last time, just a little bit, just because we're still kind of dealing with the repercussions of the offseason. And is there any team that kind of scares you in the division that maybe challenges the Bucks in defending their title? Zach, we'll start with you, man. What do you think about the prospects of another team competing with the Bucks for the NFC South this year?
So you were pretty rough on the Saints before, but I'm a little worried about the Saints. It's another year with Derek Carr, another year of that relationship between him and the wide receivers working out.
All right.
Not only did they sign Chase Young, they also signed Willie Gay, who I think is a very, very good linebacker.
Yeah, I like Willie Gay a lot.
So I think that their defense scares me a little bit. Like it feels like we always split the season series with them.
For sure.
So I will say I think that the Saints are probably my biggest worry to beat us next year.
Fair enough. You see, like you said, another year with Derek Carr, and that scares me. That's like a bad thing in my mind.
And that's fair because he hasn't done anything to scare me, but I don't know. Like I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's just had bad teams. So it's like, I mean, I can't really take anything that he did in Oakland series because it was such a trash organization all around.
For sure.
But like another year with pretty much the same team, like I just feel like something is like in my belly telling me, oh, maybe he's going to be decent this year.
Yeah, it's just rough because, like you said, he's never really been on a great team, but I don't know if I'd call the Saints a good team either.
No, and that's what I'm saying, I guess, is like,
right.
I feel like in Oakland it felt like there was a rotating door of players coming in and leaving and coming in and leaving.
Absolutely.
Like outside of Devontae Adams, he didn't have anybody.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, he was dealing with Hunter Renfrow as his
exactly, and
Yeah,
Hunter Renfrow is not even in the league anymore right now. I don't
Right.
think.
Yeah.
So it's like this team has better weapons than he had all around him in Oakland. Like, yeah, Oakland had Devontae Adams. I don't think any receiver on New Orleans is as good as Devontae Adams, but I think if you look at all the position players, I'm like, all right, this team's probably better than Oakland. So that's kind of more so what I meant by that.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. After Chris Olave, it gets real thin.
Well, they have A.T. Perry. Who else?
Yeah. Keep going.
No, I can't.
See what I mean? Like,
There you have
I
it.
mean, they have Kamara, but
okay.
he might as well be a wide receiver at this point.
Right, for sure. I like Kamara as well. Like I was a big fan of Kamara when he first broke out. But man, he's aged a little.
Those miles are catching up to him quick.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I agree with that 100%.
Right, and not that Michael Thomas was ever really any good, or not ever, but he wasn't really very good the past few years, or even playing.
I would say, was he even on the field?
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he's signed. I think he's
no,
done.
He's still a free agent.
Yeah, so it's tough, after Olave gets and Kamara, I suppose it just gets real thin. They got Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill at the tight end positions, but these aren't really dynamic playmakers, I would say. So it's a bit tough in New Orleans. But Mr. Tariq, how about you, man? Maybe you're kind of like me. You're kind of just shrugging your shoulders and not really concerned about any of the teams, or maybe there's someone in the division that concerns you with the Bucs.
No, there's nothing concerning about our whole division. I've said this a couple of times. I mean, when you ask, is there anyone that scares me when it comes to the Bucs defending their title? What title? This title is like that. It's like those, how it is for like high schools, like 1A, 2A, 3A. 1A is usually like those really small schools. Yeah, we're like 1A right now. Yeah, we're like a 1A. We're like a 1A division, Carter.
Oh,
everyone
man.
else is 6A, 7A. You know what I'm saying? So I'll tell you this: the only thing that scares me about this division is just the way the Bucs play. Honestly, because every single one of these teams, minus the Panthers, has potential. I don't want to leave the Panthers out, but that's just how it is right now. So
yeah, unfortunately,
the Falcons, Zach mentioned already, the Falcons got a young core. They got potential. All right, at least when it comes to winning the NFC South title. Same thing with the Saints. I mean, I know they're kind of thin, and the guy on my right's looking out the window saying, "Oh, we got Derek Carr." And then the guy on my left is looking out the window saying, "Oh, we got Derek Carr."
Right,
Y'all ever seen that? Y'all ever seen that meme? Y'all
Yeah.
ever see that like meme? Like those like two like random like stick figures like looking out the bus windows.
Yeah. One of them's depressed, the other's
so-
happy. Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of that. But I don't know. No one really scares me other than the Buccaneers themselves.
Absolutely. No, that's a great way of putting it.
Because we can end up doing really well, or this can end up, being a really ugly season for us, honestly.
Yeah, the only team that can really prevent the Bucs from winning the division is the Bucs. They're gonna have to kind of beat themselves. That's a great way of putting it. Absolutely. So yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting thought exercise, just because we're getting towards the end of this offseason. There's light at the end of the tunnel, so figured you might as well. It's too early, but start talking about division contention and stuff like that. And another way too early thing, awards predictions. Might as well, right? So we'll start with MVP, and we'll do two. We'll do a 2-for-1 kind of thing. You can give me your Bucs MVP for this upcoming season, and your NFL overall MVP for this upcoming season. Mr. Tariq, I'll throw it right back at you, my man. Who's your Bucs MVP for the year, and who is going to be the NFL MVP in your opinion?
I mean, I hate to take his guy, but when you think about MVPs of the season, you think about like probably just one or two star players on every team or whatever. And, you always think about the quarterback. So it's Baker Mayfield. I think, you know what? I'm feeling optimistic about what Baker's going to do for us this year. How our team turns out to do, I'm a little bit more iffy on that, but I am, feeling confident that I think this is the right spot for Baker. I think all those years, he had his ups and downs or whatever. I think this is it.
Yeah. No,
And then,
I'm with you.
mean, I don't know if I should just say my MVP of the season, but I was gonna go with Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson's got. I mean, I know he's already won it before and all that, but I mean, he's got the weapons. And I don't know. I mean, the Ravens are looking super deadly, and as long as he stays healthy, though, because I know he's had his obstacles, but I mean, if he can ball out, then I think he's going to be real dangerous, and I think he's going to be a good contender for that title.
Yeah, I think he can absolutely go back to back. I think he can win a third one pretty easily. Like you mentioned, health. Just the health is the key component. Because when he's healthy, he's played at an MVP level. When he's played a full season, he's been near or at the MVP level. So yeah, that's definitely a great call out for sure. And I like the Baker pick too. I think that he'll be great this year. I think the offense is set up for him to be successful for sure. Just with the draft picks and the wide receivers that they've brought in. I think that it's kind of a, hey, this is what you want. This is what you want to do. So go for it. So Baker's definitely a good pick for sure. My MVP for this upcoming year, I'm going to go. It's hard not to go with Baker, because it's just, he's got the ball in his hands all the time.
Let's just go with him, Carter.
I want to be different, I want to be interesting.
Yeah.
I want to, I'm trying to be edgy, but no, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go with Baker. Yeah, I'm going to go with Baker too. He's going to have I think he's going to have a really, really solid year. And if the Bucs are successful, it's going to be because of Baker. But if the Bucs have a crappy season, it's unfortunately probably going to be because of Baker as well. A lot rests on his shoulders. I think this team is built around him, and I think it's built for his success. So I think he's going to have some success. So yeah, that's my MVP pick for the Bucs. But for the NFL, it was really tempting to go Lamar because I'm with you, Musab. I think that they've made some adjustments so that he takes a little less hits or fewer hits. I don't know the grammatical way to say that, but yeah, I think that they've set up a really good offense for him in Baltimore. I think he's going to have a lot of success this year, but oh man, I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. I know it's boring.
I didn't even want to go with Lamar Jackson, but it's just like I definitely didn't want to go with Patrick Mahomes
for sure, and I don't want to either. But
man.
He's the Thanos of the NFL. Dread it, run from it. It comes all the same. So I'm going to pick Mahomes.
Want to make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah,
for sure. And if it doesn't happen, no one will be happier than me. I can promise you that.
I will kneecap him if it happens.
Oh, okay.
I hate him so much.
He is very annoying. I'm with you. Although it's not necessarily him, it's really his family. And
yep. Thank you. I was just gonna say the same thing. I hate
him.
And
it's just like you always want to see some change. You get tired of someone just winning the same thing over and over again, unless they, really, really. I mean, I guess they kind of. I mean, I guess he does prove it. But
if Baker came in and won over and over and over again, I would not be tired of it.
I would.
Yeah, I think I would too. Unless we got to talk about it and talk about the Bucs. And Mr. Blaine, I'm going to throw it right back at you, my man. Who's your Bucs MVP? Why is it Baker Mayfield? And then who's your NFL MVP?
So it is Baker Mayfield. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh? You thought that's funny?
Yeah.
I am taking Baker Mayfield as my Bucs MVP because I do think that the success of this team hinges on the success of Baker Mayfield. And I don't foresee anything happening. Yep, that's right. I don't foresee anything happening that's going to take that away from him, or that's going to make him not be the MVP. Now, MVP of the NFL, I also have Baker Mayfield. No, I got CJ Stroud. I do think that this Texans team is going to be very, very good, and I think that it hinges on the success of CJ Stroud, just like the Baker situation. But I think that he's got so many weapons around him, it's going to be hard for him not to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was really good last year. You know, he was a rookie of the year last year. So I
Yeah.
have no doubt that he will absolutely have another outstanding year. You know, he'll get Stephon Diggs in the conversation. And I heard the Yabba Dabba Dab is Jake Camarda
Yeah.
MVP.
You
Is
said
that
Jake
right?
Martin's gonna be the MVP.
Yeah, Jake Camarda. Is
Was it
that
Jake Camarda or was it Graham Barton?
Graham
Or
Barton?
Barton, getting out of here.
Oh man, I think it was Graham Barton. You know what,
All right,
Musab,
go to
you're
your mom.
absolutely
We're
right.
not playing that game. Graham Barton is not an MVP.
First
Hot
offensive
take,
lineman
hot
to win
take,
the
Carter, but I think Graham Barton's going to be the new D. Delaney.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Ouch. Oh man. Well, you know, I'm with you on CJ Stroud though. I think he's going to have an outstanding year. Will it be MVP level? I hope so. That'd be a lot of fun. But
That'd be cool.
yeah,
I
that'd
wouldn't
be
mind it.
yeah, I would not mind that at all. So we'll shift our folks to the offensive player of the year, and I'll start it off. For the Bucks, I do think that Zach, you're going to hate this. I'm going to go with Rachaad White. I think he's going to be really, really fun this year. I think he's going to build off of what was a bit of a mixed bag last year. I think he's going to take a huge step forward running the ball. I think that interior of the offensive line is such a big improvement that I think he's going to take a jump in that area. And he was already an elite wide receiver or an elite receiving back. I think he'll continue to be that this season. As long as he stays healthy, I just have no reason to believe he can't, rack up over 1,000 yards rushing and then maybe like 600 or 700 yards receiving. I think he's going to be great this year. So Rachaad White is my pick for the Bucks Offensive Player of the Year, and he's also my pick for NFL. No, I'm just kidding. No, my NFL pick for Offensive Player of the Year. It's a tough one because there's the obvious Justin Jefferson, and he could absolutely win it, no doubt. But I don't know. It's just my gut's telling me that it's not going to be him. And I got to go with Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to have an outstanding year in San Francisco. Just got that big time contract extension. I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey. I know I hate on running backs a lot, but there's running backs and then there's Christian McCaffrey. So he's kind of in a separate category of his own. So Christian McCaffrey is going to be my offensive player of the year. But Mr. Blaine, I'm going to throw it right back at you, my man. Who are your offensive player of the year picks?
I got Mike Evans for Tampa for obvious reasons. I mean, I think we get another 1,000-yard season. I think he definitely leads Tampa in receiving touchdowns, if not the NFL again. And then for the NFL, I'm right there with you on CMC. Jefferson was also my second pick. I think that he's going to be a stud as always. But with the injury last year, I'm a little worried for him, I guess I'll say. So I think CMC is just a freak athlete, freak of nature all around, and I think he takes it.
Yeah, I mean, Christian McCaffrey, he's fantastic. Justin Jefferson, fantastic too. Definitely agree with everything. That's solid pick. Mike Evans. That's what more can you say? Mr. Tariq, how about your offensive player of the year picks?
Yeah, I'll keep it pretty short and sweet. I mean, Mike Evans. Who else? I thought about Rachaad White, but I just he just can't be an offensive player of the year for me on the Bucks when you have Mike Evans. So
I feel you.
For me, listen, I wanted to do McCaffrey. I believe McCaffrey. Correct me if he won it last year, right? Yeah. So yeah. So I always want to see someone different. Of course, someone obviously who also deserves it too. And Christian McCaffrey he's a freak athlete. I'm going Justin Jefferson though, just because I just think that this is going to be that year that he's going to be balling out. Obviously, injuries can be a concern for sure, but hey, anything can happen. And little fun fact, actually, Christian McCaffrey, because I was reading about how much of a freak athlete he was, even in high school. His dad didn't let him wear jeans in high school at all. He had to wear sweatpants because of the extra weight. Yeah, he did a bunch of other really weird stuff too. It was but I just remember that it was he had to wear sweatpants or something like that just because of how serious it was, at least for his dad. So I guess it paid off, I think.
Absolutely. I was about to say that's a kind of a kooky kind of thing, but hey, it seems to have paid dividends. I remember that story of Ty Lawson. I don't know if y'all remember him. He was a point guard for the Nuggets, and there was that story about him walking around with ankle weights to and from school.
Oh wow!
So that he could increase his vertical because he was an undersized guy. He was 5'10".
Yeah.
So that was always a cool story for me too. I know our producer's a big Nuggets fan, so he's probably, going crazy, trying to type a bunch of Ty Lawson fun facts right now.
He's probably Probably on Amazon right now, try to buy some ankle weights.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. In honor of Ty Lawson. Oh, man. I do miss Ty Lawson. He was a lot of fun to watch on the court. But anyways, this is a football podcast, not a basketball one. So we'll move on to the Defensive Player of the Year award. Zach, we'll start with you, my man. What's your Bucks Defensive Player of the Year pick? And then NFL.
So this one was kind of a hard one for me.
Yeah, it is. It's a difficult one.
As far as for Tampa, because you've got Antoine Winfield.
Right.
But then you got Levante David, who I think could very well win it. There's a lot of linebackers, safeties, and D-line that can win this. I can tell you this much. A corner will not win Defensive Player of the Year for Tampa.
Ooh, we got to write this down.
Darn.
We do not have one available that has the ability to do that. Now, with that being said, I gave it to Antoine Winfield. I think that he is kind of the backbone of this defense. Obviously Levante David is the defense, but I think Antoine Winfield is like the next guy up. We just paid him to show him that. So I do think that he's going to be defensive MVP for us.
All right. And how about the NFL?
NFL, I had a mix up between Max Crosby and TJ Watt, but I went with Old Faithful. I went TJ Watt.
For sure.
I feel like I know it's a short answer just to give you a name, but it kind of speaks for itself. He's an
what
animal.
else is there to say that?
He's already won it twice, I think. He's a stud, and I don't foresee that changing.
Yeah, outstanding. TJ Watt, big TJ Watt guy. He's a lot of fun over there in Pittsburgh to watch play. Myles Garrett's another one that could be up there. He'll be really, really good. I don't know. That's a tough one for the NFL for sure. Musab, how about you, man? What's your Bucks and NFL pick for Defensive Player of the Year?
I think there's a handful of candidates for sure who could win that Defensive Player of the Year for our Buccaneers, but I got to go with the most reliable guy, the guy who's showing us why we kept him for the big bucks, and that's Antoine Winfield Jr. Especially this last year. I have to say, I think there was at least 2 or 3 games that I could safely say he saved us. You know what I'm saying? And he's a game changer. Now for the kind of NFL, again, I wanted to change it up. Didn't want to I don't want to see someone win it again unless again they deserve it. But I'm going with Max Crosby. He's freak athlete, amazing. It's just obviously I know last year he was also in the candidate pool as well. But you can't go wrong with people like TJ Watt as well or Myles Garrett,
Yeah, I think they're the 3 best pass rushers in the NFL right now. Yeah. And pass rushers and quarterbacks seem to dominate the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year awards, which, rightfully so. They have the biggest impact on the game. So I get it, but it can get a little boring when you're talking about these awards.
Yeah, it feels like at this point for a position other than quarterback or defensive end to win Offensive Player of the Year or Defense Player of the Year, we would have to see them break some stupid records.
Yeah.
For it to happen. It's almost like getting voters fatigue when you vote for or when you see the same people that are getting in the NBA when you got the same 3 people winning MVP every year. Right. You're like, all right, I wouldn't mind seeing it change a little bit, but I know it's always going to be at the end. I can almost count on that at this point.
For sure. Yeah, it's tough. For the NFL, I went the end, spoiler alert,
yep.
Myles Garrett, just to kind of add some variety. But any one of those 3 guys that we just mentioned could win it. And for the Bucks, I decided to switch it up a little bit. I think Vita Vea is going to win it. I think he's going to have a huge year. I think Kalijah Kancey helps him out a lot. Yep. I think they both work in tandem and kind of help each other out, help each other get better. So I'm going to go with Vita Vea. I think he has an outstanding year. I think he really breaks out. He's a tough one too. He plays such a position that it can be sometimes difficult to measure their impact on the stat sheet, because he's not going to rack up a bunch of sacks or anything, or at least if he does, that'd be
something's
awesome.
Wrong. Yeah.
Well, maybe not something's wrong. Maybe something's wrong with the teams he's playing, but
true.
But no, yeah, I'd be stoked if he, racked up a huge sack number. But I just think he's going to be really, really good this year. And both of those guys playing a full season healthy, I think will be huge because Kancey kind of got off to a slow start with the injury bug in the preseason. So I think him staying healthy throughout the preseason and into the regular season will be really, really big for the Bucs and for him individually, but also for Vita Vea individually as well. So, yeah, I'm really excited for this NFL season. Obviously, a lot of these awards are going to be talked about throughout the year because, it's fun. And who knows, maybe a running back and a cornerback will win the offensive and the defensive player of the year awards, or the MVP and the defensive player of the year awards. Maybe we'll have something weird happen. And
That'd be cool.
that would be very cool.
And I could rub it into your face about how a running back won MVP.
That's true. That's true. I mean, there was that one year where Cooper Kupp was like in the conversation for MVP because he had a ridiculous season. But it's been a while since a running back's really been in the conversation. I think
Adrian Peterson.
What about tight end? Has a tight end ever? I'm assuming the tight end's never won it.
Probably not.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine either. I
can't imagine, but you got to think those years with like Tony Gonzalez and Rob Gronkowski, you got to think they were at least in conversation for it.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe not. Though. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but like I just feel like if they were never in the conversation for it, that's insane.
Yeah, it's just tough because like the tight end position has been kind of in ambiguity for the most of the NFL's history.
Yeah,
it's only recently been able to really push the boundaries in terms of being involved in the offense.
And I mean, there's only been ever a couple names that have ever been big in the tight end position.
Exactly.
So it's kind of just
it's tough. Our producer confirmed no tight ends ever won an MVP. So that makes sense. I mean, Travis Kelce's been fantastic over the years. Rob Gronkowski, like you mentioned, Tony Gonzalez, but unfortunately their impact just hasn't been as big as quarterbacks. So I guess I get it, but it'd be fun. It'd be cool to see, like TJ Hotchinson or something, like just some weird out of nowhere name.
Payne Durham.
Yeah, exactly. Payne Durham, O'Keefe coming out of nowhere to win an MVP award. Oh man. But anyways, we'll have enough of this tomfoolery. We really appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. If you liked what you heard, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. We can keep getting you some new content every week. And then once the NFL season starts, man, you're going to be wanting to tune in every week because we'll be covering the Bucs really, really intensely, even more so than we already do. But until then, we're still going to be giving you our weekly show because, hey, there's always something to talk about football related. So definitely tune in next week for our next episode. And you can give us a follow at RBLR Sports to find out all the other content that we've got coming out across this fantastic channel. So like I said, we really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Love to my co-host as well. And as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.